I've had the Inspire 3 for about a month now, and I've got some experience with it on set. And I want to go over the pros and cons of the drone and talk about my experience working with it on set. All right, everybody, welcome to another one of my videos. So we're out here in this beautiful location, one of the few forests in Iceland. All of the Vikings just cut down all the trees and didn't replant them, so we're out of forests now. This is such a beautiful day, but holy moly, did I underestimate the cold. It is freezing. It is minus 11 degrees Celsius, and I have these huge ass gloves on me, and as soon as I take them off, my hands just freeze. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'll figure it out. I just have to show you how cold it is. So there's literally ice forming on the propellers of the drone. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the suitcase that the drone comes with. This is actually super nice. It's such a well-built case that you get with the drone. It's pretty huge, but that's understandable because the drone is huge. So it's actually a very high quality, very nice case that you can use very easily for travels. And you even have this, so it's just like a suitcase that you can bring with you. It has locks, so you can lock it so nobody can steal anything from inside the case at least. All right, so this right here is what is in the box. You have the drone. This is the camera that goes on the drone. This right here is where all the lenses are in. And this is the controller. And then right here you have the strap that goes on your back to hold the controller. I'll show you that in a bit. And this kit with the suitcase, the drone, the camera, and 6 batteries and the controller is around $16,000. So that is pretty expensive. And then you need to buy a lens, and there's a lot of accessories that get very expensive very fast. But when you're going into a drone like this that is literally used in Hollywood and is Netflix approved, you can already assume that it's gonna get pretty expensive. This right here is how the drone is by default, just flat. That is really nice to travel with, to put it in the suitcase like this. So the suitcase is pretty thin and compact compared to how big the drone is when you've set it all up. Let's slide in the batteries. We're gonna put the camera on. We need to raise the landing gear, so 5 tap on the drone. Pretty cool. This is the box where the camera is in. It's very neat. So let's open that. This right here is the camera of the drone, the gimbal. Very nice how compact it is in this box right here, how it folds down. That's really nice. Now let's put it on. Okay, so now the drone is basically ready to fly. Now we're just gonna turn on the controller and put the shoulder strap on for the controller. So this right here is the controller. It is a pretty good size. The screen is very big, which is very nice to have a big screen for this drone. It has all of the things that you need. It has an HDMI, a micro USB, a micro SD, a USB-C to charge it, and you can actually open up a compartment behind the controller to have an extra battery and not worry about charging the controllers. You can just swap out those batteries instead of charging the controller. That is super nice. This is a pretty heavy and big controller, so having it like this is pretty uncomfortable, but as soon as we put the strap on, as soon as we put the support strap on, as soon as we put the shoulder strap, it's gonna be much better. There we have it. We have the strap. Now it just sits like this on my stomach and I don't have to do anything. That is super nice. So I can go and do something with the drone or swap the batteries or something while the controller just sits like this on my stomach. And about the batteries, one of my favorite features is that you can hot swap the battery, so you don't need to turn the drone off and on every time you need to swap batteries. So for example here, we're gonna switch batteries. So take one out, and as you can see, the drone is still on, still have a camera feed and everything. And now I just put the other battery in. There we have it. And then I'll just have to do it on the other side as well. But now we have full battery and we're good to go in the air again. So that takes so minimal time to do instead of turning it off and taking the battery out and putting in a new one and then turning it on again. So that is super nice. Okay, let's talk about the camera of the drone. I am so satisfied and happy with the quality of the drone. It's just insane. This camera records in 8.1K full frame resolution, which is just insane to have a camera like that up in the air. And then you can buy the raw lights on the DJI site and you can unlock the full potential, which gives you up to 75 FPS in the maximum quality at 8.1K, which is just crazy for a drone. The quality just never disappoints. I mean, for what you're paying for, you hope to get something that you're happy with. And this camera has switchable lenses. You can put whatever lens you want that DJI has. DJI has 18, 24, 35, 50 and 75mm lenses, and you can switch them up anytime you want. If you're doing a very wide shot, you put it on the 18mm and then you land again and you put on the 75 if you want that tight, cool parallel shot or something like that. To switch lenses is a huge game changer. This drone actually lacks a lot of features. It doesn't have any features like the other Mavic drones or the Mini Pro or whatever other drones DJI has. So all of those drones have like smart features like the boomerang and the helix and the rocket, but this one has none of it. I mean, I can never think why I would need any of those features, but this one doesn't have that. The only feature it has is Spotlight Pro, which tracks the thing that you select. So if I select a car or myself, I can track myself walking or something like that. So the camera follows me and I can control the drone. And then the other feature that it has that is amazing is waypoints. I can fly a path and put waypoints down during my flight, and then I can go back and redo the flight path, exact same flight path. And I don't need to do anything. The drone does that by itself. So I can just press go and the drone just flies the flight path that I made. I'm trying the waypoint feature and this is actually so sick. So I've done the waypoints and now I'm gonna execute. It'll fly the same path that I went when I was logging it. So it's going to the start point now where I started. I put the first waypoint at. Aircraft reach start point, press C1 to start execution. All right, let's go. So now the drone is just flying freely. It's just flying according to the waypoints. I'm not doing anything. So now I can just control the camera however I want, which is so sick. I'm definitely gonna use this if I'm doing some complex shots where I need a lot of concentration on the subject and the camera, so I can control the camera if I'm not with another operator that's controlling that. So this is such a cool feature. I love this. That is super nice, especially if you can't fly the drone and control the camera at the same time. You can just put those waypoints and make it fly itself, and then you can have full control of the camera. Don't need to think about flying the drone itself. Now this drone has dual operation. With this controller, for example, I control where the drone is going, I fly it, I make sure I don't crash into anything, and then there's another controller who controls the gimbal or the camera of the drone. That is super sick to have this control over this drone. It is very hard to control it and do some complex shots with this drone with only one operator. That is pretty hard. But obviously if you want a dual operation, you need to buy another controller, which is pretty expensive. That's the downside of it. I've had this drone for about a month now and I've got some experience on set with it. I've got to say it's such a nice drone to work on set. It is so efficient in everything and it just works great. As I said, the hot swappable batteries without turning the drone off is so nice. That saves so much time. And then another amazing feature is that you can have an external monitor. For example, I had a DJI transmission monitor and I just connect it to the drone. I give it to the director and he has a separate monitor to watch the video that I'm making. And I can have the controller and just look at that and the director looks at another monitor. He doesn't have to see all of this extra shit that is distracting for him. So another very good feature is the SSD of the drone. So when I'm done on a shoot, instead of going home and having to transfer everything from the drone to an external hard drive and then give the hard drive to the producer or whoever, I just take the SSD out of the drone and give it to him. He offloads it and then I get it once he's done offloading it. So this drone is rated for 28 minutes in the air, which is pretty nice for a drone this big and with a camera like this. Realistically, I get about 20 to 25 minutes max. Usually about, like 15 to 20 is more realistic, to be honest. Now, I want to talk about the pros and cons. The biggest pro is definitely the quality of the drone. It's just insane. I'm just so impressed with it. I love the quality. It's just so satisfying to record a video with it. It's just so good. And oh, there's a plane. Damn, that is super low. Holy moly. Good I didn't go high with the drone. That is literally probably like 40 meters above me. What the hell? Okay, anyways, and the travel suitcase is also super nice to travel abroad or to put it in your car or wherever you want to do with it. Such a nice and compact suitcase where you can put all your lenses, all your batteries, chargers, everything you want. And then I was talking about the SSD, such a nice workflow on set. It is so efficient to offload the footage and to give it to someone else. And then the hot swappable batteries are super nice as well. That definitely is such a nice run and gun. You just set it up. It takes quite a while to set it up, but once you've set it up, you can just leave it there running and then you just swap the batteries whenever you need. Now, this thing is super reliable on set. It gets the job done insanely well. And as I said, the quality is just unmatched. You can't get a better quality drone unless you go to like a heavy lifter with a cinema camera on it, like an Alexa or something like that, which is a huge setup. So this is such a nice setup for such a good quality camera like that. Now, let's go over the cons. Obviously, the price, it is super expensive. As I mentioned, this is about $16,000. Only the drone with a couple of batteries and the travel case and the camera, obviously, but again, no lens. So you need to buy another lens, you need to buy more batteries, you need to buy another SSD. You need to buy a lot of accessories for this drone. So it gets very easily up to $20,000 to $25,000, like very easily. I already spent about like $20,000 just getting 2 lenses, an extra batteries and some extra accessories. So it is super easy to go over budget with this thing. So, and then one con, which is understandable, is the size of it. It's such a huge drone. It's not easy to travel with. It's super heavy. heavy, but that's what you are asking for if you want a drone like this, that is such a good quality like this. Another thing that I've noticed while flying it is that the signal isn't the best at times. So for example, on the Mavic 4 Pro, the signal is much better because it has a newer transmission system. This transmission system is pretty outdated compared to what DJI has now, but it is enough. But yeah, it's just a shame. I've noticed it quite a lot. It takes a long time to set up. Now in my other video that I'll link up in this corner, or this corner, 15 to 20 minutes. I went over it in my other video if you want to check that out. But I mean, that's understandable because it is so compact in the suitcase. You need to obviously take a lot of things off of the drone when you put it in, and then you need to put all the propellers on. You need to put the camera on. You need to put both of the batteries. You need to turn it on to make the landing gear raise, and then you need to make it wait for booting up and everything. So yeah, it was about 15 to 20 minutes setup time, which is quite a while. But then again, you can just do that once for the day and just leave it out and let it just run and just constantly swap out the batteries if you need to. So the last con that I wanted to talk about and that I realized that the drone has is a very steep learning curve because it is so complicated. There's so many things you need to do before a flight, and there's so many things you can do while flying. It's a pretty complicated drone, but you just practice and you watch tutorials and stuff and you learn it. Now I've had I don't know how many flights with it, but a lot of flights, and I've learned so much, but I'm still learning new things every day. Yeah, I think that's about it. I went over all the things that I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions or anything, just ask me down in the comments and I'll try to answer as best as I can. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll leave some clips rolling that I've gotten with this drone over the course of a month so you can see how good the quality is.